I want to talk about one of the reasons why people can justify or get away with quote unquote teaching technique. This is going to be perhaps the main reason, particularly when it comes to children. I'm going to focus more on children, but this could be in any case, really. I just don't want to get too complicated here. But when you think of children, let's say you have a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, doesn't matter. What people miss when they think the technique is wrong is a couple things. One, they're using the ball. I talked about this. They're using the wrong ball. They're using the wrong court size. This is a big one that I haven't talked about. They're using the wrong racket, the racket size. And the fourth thing that I'm going to talk about is the opponent is not the right opponent. It's too difficult. It's outside of their level or skill level. So let's swing back to the racket thing. The racket, if you're a kid like you say you're an 8-year-old kid and you're using a full size adult racket, the coach or the outsider that's perceiving them is going to say, "Oh, his technique's bad. It looks bad." It's going to look bad no matter what because the racket is too big. And this is the thing that people miss because you can have an 11-year-old, particularly girls, but it's not just girls because everyone's growing at different rates. You could have an 11-year-old girl using a full-size racket. If you go by the standard, well, 11 years old, she should be using a full-size racket. Not necessarily. And you can see this when you see the quote-unquote technique looking bad. That's the first thing I would look at. The racket's too big. And, of course, they're using the yellow ball. When you use a smaller racket, let's say you use a 26-inch racket, it doesn't feel as good. So the kid's not going to want to use a 26-inch racket. Definitely isn't going to want to use a 25-inch racket. It's going to feel funny. It's going to hurt, etc. So if you're using the yellow ball, it kind of goes together. You're using the yellow ball. You got a 27-inch racket. You got an 11-year-old kid. The technique's going to look bad, and the tennis coach, the parent, the pro, whoever is going to be able to take advantage of that and feel like they have to work on technique. It's not that. It's not the kid. It's the racket. It's the ball. It's the court size. This is a big problem. And the answer is to, yes, hold them back. Have more. They need to be able to play orange ball. They need to be able to play green ball with a 26-inch racket at least. There's got to be more 12 and under green ball tournaments. This has to be the standard. The standard should be 12 and under green ball. But of course, it's still not. And, some of the other reasons, the opponent, going up against a better opponent, a more skilled opponent. Here's the thing. I'm not against the 11-year-old using, at that point, depending on what they're trying to do or who they are, I'm not against the 11-year-old using a full-size racket, playing with the yellow ball. But don't expect the technique to look perfect. Don't expect it to look like what you see on TV or what you see on a YouTube video and be okay with that. Because these are the reasons why. The racket's too big. The ball's not appropriate. So if you want it to look good, this is what you have to do. And if the movement's not there, if the player looks unbalanced and they're a normal kid who plays sports and is pretty good. I mean, if the movement's, say it's a 12-year-old kid, or you just look at a 12-year-old kid. They're not the same size as a 20-year-old or 25-year-old, an adult. What makes you think the movement and the balance is going to be there when the kid is much smaller than an adult on the same size court? The court needs to be smaller. I don't care how you do it. But again, like I said, if you got a 12-year-old, they're playing at these events and they're going to grow. It's not really a big deal. But if you're fooling yourself and thinking you need to work on footwork and you need to work on balance, and this is not, it's the court. It's the court. It's too big. That's the problem. Just let it go. It's not a big deal. They'll eventually grow and it'll look different. So what should you do in these scenarios? Ignore these problems that are going to go away on their own, because what coaches are doing and players are doing, they're training their brain to focus on this stuff. And it takes this is when we're talking about muscle memory, which I haven't got into this yet, but they're training their brain. They're training their brain in the wrong way, and it takes a long time to do this. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're training the drop shot pattern. You're training the response to hit a drop shot. This can take a long time in lots of varied situations. So you want to positively move in that direction. Positively mean you're consistently over a long period of time working in that direction. And every time you come back and say, well, we got to work on the racket. Where's the arm and where's this? You're moving in the wrong direction. And people don't understand that. This can take a long time. And every time you move in the wrong direction, it's going to take that much longer to move in the right direction. And this is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. Let's just use one more example. Let's say you're going down the line to the corner target. And every time you go down, you play the pattern, you go cross court, you go down the line, you get a middle ball, you go to the corner. And every time you do that, you're building that pattern. You're practicing, which I haven't got into virtuosity, that I'm going to get into in another video. You're practicing that. You're moving forward in the right direction. And then every time the coach stops, if you're stopping more often to work on where everything is to work it out, you're not doing it intuitively. The player isn't solving it on their own. Every time you do that, you're going in the wrong direction. You should be moving positively in that, and it's okay to miss. It's okay to miss if you're missing a couple. That's where the ignoring part comes in, because you're not going to make it every time. So this is what I think is happening. Again, Angelo's perspective. This is my perspective, coaching hundreds and thousands of hours that I've coached and played. Hope you find this helps you, helps your tennis. Have a great day.